Hello and welcome back to this video series on control structures. In this video, this will be a brief video that's going to focus on the looping structure. So we previously talked about the selection structure with if-else statements, switch statements, ternary operator. But in this video, we're going to dive into what is looping. So a loop is a structure that repeats an action while some condition remains true or false in this nature. So here's a comment that I like to always point out, where the student probably got in trouble for throwing airplanes in class, and the teacher said, well, you have to write, I will not throw airplanes 500 times. So the student got clever and decided to write a for loop where it would output this 500 times. Some other use cases for looping structures would be validating data, doing defensive programming. You can have the user do some type of mathematical calculation over and over again. And we're going to do an example of that with the Fibonacci sequence. But let's quickly switch gears here and actually do some coding and just talk through it, run a few examples, and then that'll be the end of this video. So I'm going to do a split screen here. So here's my my code here on the right. I'm going to delete this, and basically I just started a new folder. It was already scaffolded for me, and I just opened the app.java file, and that's all I've done up until this point. So what I'm going to do is just do a quick while loop, and then I'll do a for loop. So with the while loop, I'm going to declare some variables. I would say int equals 0, or int x, and int y equals 5. And this for loop is all it's gonna do is basically output numbers from 0 to 5. So here with the while loop, you're gonna use the reserved keyword called while. You're gonna have a condition, and I'll say, well, x is equal. Well, I'll initialize x. And say, well, x is less than y, which is holding a value of 5, then output x. And I want 5 to actually output as well, so 0 to 5. And so it needs to be inclusive, and that's how we would actually get 5 to output. So start off with 0, and it'll continually iterate up until this condition is no longer true. And then here we need something that's going to increment x. This is the same thing as x equals x plus 1. But a shorter version of that, we have this unary operator, it's x plus plus. But if you were to take this out and do this, it would be the same thing. But a lot of times you'll see the shorter syntax of x plus plus. So if we were to save this, Control S, and run this program, we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just say a little bit more about this looping structure. So there's 3 statements needed for a looping structure. One is the initial control variable, and that's this x equals 0. You need the variable that's going to be tested, or the condition or expression, and that's x is less than or equal to y. And then you're going to need the third thing is the value that's going to be altered, and x, the altered value, and this here is going to be x plus plus, or x equals x plus 1. Another way of writing this here, which I didn't share, is x plus equal 1. That is also valid, but this is going to be So you always need these three things when you're doing a looping structure. You need the initial control variable, where we're going to start. We need the variable that's going to be tested, or the expression. That's our condition here, is x less than equal to y. And then here we're going to need the value of whether it's going to increment or decrement. We need to alter the control variable, which is the control variable in this case is x. Let's say if we wanted to output to 10, right? We just change our y value to 10, and we'll output this information. So we'll save this, and we'll press run, and there we go. We got 0 to 10. Now this is the same. A while loop has some benefits and has some advantages, but you can also do a for loop. And this is another looping structure. It's a different syntax. Some people would say that it's an easier or less convoluted syntax. And so here's a for loop in Java. We'll say for is a reserved keyword, and we'll say x is equal to 0, x is less than equal to y, and x plus plus. Now you'll see that with this statement here, all of our three items that we need are all in one line. So we have the initial control variable, we have our variable that's going to be untested, or our expression without condition, and then we have our altering control variable, right? So same thing as a while loop, but it's a different structure, and it looks a little different. But if we do this here, system.outprint x, it should give us the same output. And what I would do here is just comment this out. And then run this. I'll save it, Control S. And just to make sure that this is different, I'll change y to be 8 this time. And I'll save it and run it. So we should get 0 to 8, which is here. All right, before I end this video, let me just point out one more thing here. I want to step through this slowly. So I'm going to bring back the while loop, and I'm going to get rid of the for loop for now. And let's change this to 3. Again, if we were to run this, it would output 0, 1, 2, 3. What is happening with this while loop? So what's happening here is that x is going to be 0. So in the first iteration, the first pass is going to be 0 less than equal to 3. Is the condition true? Yes, it is true. So go into the block of code and output x. What value is x holding? 0. And then here we increment x plus plus. That's going to now take x to be make x to be 1. So it's going to say, well, 1 is less than equal to 3. Is that true? Yes. Y is greater than equal to 1. So the output 1. X plus plus is now 2. So it's going to say 2 less than equal to y, which is 3. That's true. So the output 2, and then we'll increment 2 to 3, while 3 is less than equal to 3. That is true because 3 can be equal to 3. So we'll output 3, and then we'll increment x again. So next now x is 4, and then we'll say, well, 4 is less than equal to y. Now this condition is false. So it skips the block, it goes down to this here, and then that's what ends. All right. So just wanted to walk through that to make sure that you understand how this while loop is working. All right, stay tuned for the next video.